Alright. Sorry about that, guys. Started off the stream a little rough. I was looking through some of my older VODs and noticed that a lot of the quality of the video was like really poor. Or in most of my videos, the quality was poor. It's because my output, like the rescaling, isn't what my display is. But I can't beef it up anymore because my GPU is like really like kind of like a subpar older model GPU. It's like one of the old 10 series cards for the NVIDIA. So we're stuck with the 720p, uh, resolution. So I was gonna upload some footage to YouTube, but knowing that it's not gonna look that great, I think I'm gonna hold off on it for now. Maybe maybe from this perspective it might work, but when I go to my game display and then have the webcam as well, it drops my frames all the way down. So, and that's both on my stream and from like what I'm seeing in real time. So, a little bit of stuff in the background you guys probably aren't familiar with, but if you're watching the VODs at any time and you're thinking, "Oh, this looks like shit," it's because the rescaling looks like shit. I can't upgrade the quality of it unless I upgrade my PC, and as you would know if you're a follower of the stream for a while, funds are kind of tight right now. We got some dogs to take care of and can hardly take care of ourselves. So we're trying to make some money here, get some stuff going. So patience is the virtue here. But to start off my stream, we're gonna get to the casting of Frank Stone for a couple hours. But before I do that, I wanted to get a little bit of a recording made for my YouTube channel in regards to a pistol that I built a couple years ago. Some people were asking about it on my YouTube channel, so I wanted to give like a little refresher on that and let people know how things are working, how things are doing with the original build. But yeah, we're just gonna jump into that real quick. To start off, the original build was built around or based around the Palmetto State Dagger. Uh, it had the Strike Industries mass driver compensator for the Glock 19 on the slide, and if you guys remember the original video, it had a lot of play, a lot of wobble, so I didn't feel comfortable using it. I didn't want to take it to the range if it didn't stay like stable on the frame or the slide, or both. And we ended up taking it off that frame and slide, and we put it onto a I think it's like St. Croix SCT19 frame. They have a Glock 17 style frame now, but at the time the Glock 19 size was the only thing that they offered at the time. And anyway, the mass driver compensator was put onto that frame with a slide from, I believe it was AIM Surplus. They offered a slide that was pretty proportional to like the same dimensions, same size as like the Glock original equipment, OEM or OE Glock slides for the Glock 19. So the slide was a near mirror like image to the slide that you would see on a Glock 19 from Glock itself. So that's why I went with that slide. Put the Glock slide and the compensator together on the St. Croix or SCT19 frame, and long story short, it did really well, but I ultimately decided to remove the mass driver from the slide. So I thought it was more of a gimmick at that point. I didn't see um, any benefits to it other than just more mess to clean up. But to give you guys like a visual, this is the compensator. This is just the compensator portion. It doesn't have the guide rod assembly built into it yet, which comes in, I believe, 3 parts. Yes. So we have. Let me actually get it all assembled for you. So it's going to be hard to demonstrate with my webcam open, but you got your compensator. Let me sorry, I'm going to try to demonstrate this best for you guys. You got your compensator. Then you have your guide rod. You have to use the guide rod that's given for the compensator. You can't use a standard compensator or standard guide rod assembly. You have to use the one that's given. They gave you a spring. I think it's a 17-pound spring. You may need to up the weight a little bit if you want to use this compensator with like plus P ammo or anything that's like, you know, a little higher in like power, I guess. Like that's what plus P is. But yeah. So you have your guide rod here. Then, if I remember how to do this correctly, yeah. Okay. So then you have your guide rod with your spring. There's an end plate that looks a little bit strange. It's not a complete circle. It's got a flat face to it. That face is to match the inside of the slide, and the rounded out edge is for the bottom part of your slide where the guide channel or guide rod channel would end. You would place this onto the guide rod. I messed up my thumb, otherwise I would do it without any issues, but you would put it onto the end of this spring after putting some pressure down on the spring, compress it, obviously. You put that plate in there, then you would put the compensator, well, first, when you have that base plate on there, you put the guide rod into the slide, and then you'd have the end of this guide rod protruding out. That's where you would place your compensator. You put the compensator on the end when the slide has the guide rod in it. Then there's another spring you would put into the guide rod or the compensator to match where the end plate for the guide rod protrudes past the slide. Then they have like this little nut that you'd put in. Screw it down, make sure it's nice and tight, put some blue Loctite on there, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And that's how you would assemble the compensator to the slide and the guide rod. Now, I didn't do a good job of visualizing that for you guys. I'm sorry. I don't have a disassembled slide. Otherwise, I would do it. Also, my hand's kind of fucked up, so I'm trying to give myself a break here. But so to run that back again, because I'm going to edit this for my YouTube channel. You got your guide rod. You take your guide rod, take the recoil spring, put the recoil spring on there. Put some pressure on this to get the spring back. Put this guide rod or the end cap on this. Put it into the slide. The slide will have this end sticking out just a little bit. Once you have that on the guide rod, or yeah, you have the guide rod assembled, you put it on the slide, then you put your compensator over the guide rod. You'll see it like there's a hole here. It'll stick through. Then you'll take your other spring for the compensator, put it in there, and then fasten this nut down with some blue Loctite. That's how you would assemble it. It fits best on OE slide. It doesn't fit on, like, say, the Dagger or the PSA, Palmetto State Armory's Dagger slides. It doesn't fit well on those, just because there's a lot of play. So the compensator and the guide rod will have this tendency. So say that your slide is facing true, like wherever you're wanting to aim. The compensator will tilt left or right depending on how much slack is left after you, say, like rack the slide or you remove any of that tension on the spring. It'll move a lot, and it doesn't always align back once the gun is in battery. Once there's a round chambered and the barrel is hot and ready, the compensator itself won't be in line with the bore of the barrel. Like it'll be kind of cockeyed, and it's not enough to where you would think that the bullet would skim the side of it or not. But like if you take your finger and you just move it slightly, then it will be. So it's like that little bit of play that is extra there. It's indicating to me that that's not a good way to have the mount, like the compensator mounted to the pistol. So I took it off of the PSA slide. The gun I went with, I'm unloading the magazine, showing clear, barrel's empty. This is the SCT19 frame I was talking about. I had to get a lower parts kit, assemble everything, and I put a AIM surplus slide. I got AIM surplus upper parts kit, so all the internals for this slide are from Aim Surplus as well. I paid probably about $100 for all of it for just the slide. The frame was about $50, and then the parts kit for it was like 20 or $25, so it wasn't a terrible deal there. Sights I had to get separate, and the barrel I got separate as well. The barrel's from Live Free Armory. It's a Live Free 19. Uh, like it's a fluted barrel. I don't know if you can really tell in the video. No, you really can't. But it's a windowed slide, so it kind of has like a little bit of flair to it. Looks pretty good. But the ultimate dimensions of the front of the slide, so where it squares off here on the edges, like where it kind of angles in, that angle needed to match the inner part right here of the compensator, and that's where I had a lot of issues with the dagger slide. So this slide is exactly what I needed for. So say I assembled it correctly, it matches perfectly with the end of the slide. So I used this for a little bit. I liked it just for the aesthetics of it, but the performance was negligible. Like I didn't see any major, I guess, impact in my shots. I just noticed that I would have like a fireball of like just more unburnt powder and stuff like that. So it was just sloppy. It made the cleanup for the pistol a lot harder because then I had to disassemble the entire slide just to clean off the barrel essentially, and then the front of the slide. The front of the slide's got a bunch of marring marks on it. Like right on the tip, you could actually kind of see it on both sides in the right lighting. But it took off that nitride finish that the slide came with. So if I wanted to get this redone, it's going to cost me some money. So I essentially just ruined a slide just for the sake of having a gimmicky like compensator on there. And it's not cheap either. The mass driver compensator from Strike Industries is about, I don't know, I think when I bought it, it was going for $75, but I got it on a special sale, I guess they had at the time, or it was on clearance, one of those two. But now I think they're about like 80, $85, somewhere around there. So it's up to you. If you want it to just look cool on your pistol, it'll work, but you have to have the right slide for it, and I would imagine having the right loads. Like you can't just use like in my case, I had to step my my cartridge up, or my projectile grain up to I think it was 124 grain, and then I didn't see reliable consistency with the cycling for that, so I stepped it up to 147 grain. 115 grain won't work with it very well. It'll shoot a couple rounds, but you'll have instances where it won't eject the round. Like it'll fire, but it won't completely eject the spent cartridge, and you'll have to basically tap rack and shoot again. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. I wouldn't recommend going out and buying this product again. I would probably steer clear from anything that's like a compensator. I've learned my lessons. Like I have a Glock 41 with a Carver Customs compensator on it. I recommend that because it's actually a match grade compensator. It's meant for like those competition shooting competitions. But I wouldn't recommend like a little Strike Industries thing. Like it's more of a gimmick than anything else. I like their magazines. I like their like smaller attachments for like swivel mounts for like slings and shit like that. Maybe their flashlight attachments, like all their mounting solutions for that. All the cheap plastic stuff that you don't want to spend a lot of money on, like dust covers for your AR uppers or for your hand guards, like that kind of stuff. I can see going and spending a little bit of money on Strike Industry shit, but I wouldn't spend it on like major components like muzzle devices or I take that back. Muzzle devices for Glocks or pistols. Pistols are finicky with anything that's on the front end of them. That's why you don't see a lot of them suppressed that often unless it's in the movies or something. So, but I will say they do have good AR-15 compensators. I like them a lot. I like their they have like a triple crown something compensator. I forgot what the name of it is. I'm sorry, but I like their AR-15 compensators. They're cheap, but they have a good aesthetic and they're actually functional. So I'll give them that. But in regards to pistol stuff, stick to the stock stuff. Don't go out and spend a lot of money on their shit. Um, yeah, I guess that's kind of like where I'm at with it. I'm not gonna get rid of this mass driver. I'm probably gonna keep it. I might end up just if I end up getting another pistol down the road that I have like no need for, and then it's just like just a have kind of thing. I might put it back on there just to have a pistol that looks cool, but never. I'm not gonna take it to the range or nothing. I know this thing fucking makes a mess on the pistol. It's not worth cleaning. It's not worth taking apart all the way just to fucking get all that unburnt gunpowder off the gun and shit. Like it just makes. I'm telling you, it makes it a fucking mess. And if you're like really finicky about cleaning your pistols, cleaning your rifles, and you don't like to have like stuff in your gun safe that's dirty, you're not gonna want this thing near you. In fact, this thing still has. I think my hands are still covered in carbon from this thing, and I've cleaned it 5 times, like at least since I've taken it off the pistols, and I've soaked it in CLP and all that kind of shit, and as you can see, it's still a dirty bitch. So I would not go out of your way and buy it. If it's given to you, maybe. If it's free, if it's like less than $40, maybe. But for the price that they're asking for it, it's a novelty. It's like just a straight up gimmick. Like it's not functional, or it doesn't have. It functions, but it doesn't have any added benefit to the extra shit that you have to do to your pistol, and all the extra considerations just to make sure that it functions properly. It's not worth it because, like I said, I had to start off with unloading, show clearing, show clear. This is the Palmetto State dagger. This is the slide I originally had it on. So I went out of my way, bought this pistol, bought the slide for this look. It didn't work, so I said, well, fuck, now I got an $80 thing I have to make work, and I decided, fuck it, I'll buy another pistol, I'll make it work for that one. And, that's where this comes in, and it worked, but it wasn't worth the extra cost of the pistol. Now, this pistol is probably one of my best pistols I've built, because I did build it from the straight up, like from the ground up. I had to assemble the frame, like all the lower parts. I had to assemble the slide, all the upper parts, fix the sights, zeroed in the sights, all that shit. It's probably one of my favorite range toys, but it was not worth investing just for the sake of having a compensator. On my Discord, I got a bunch of pictures of it, so if you guys wanted to see what it looked like, join my Discord. You'll see the gun channel. It's somewhere in there. It actually looked pretty good with the flashlight on it, and actually I'll pull out my other gun that has that flashlight, so you guys get a full picture of like what the overall look would have had, like when it's all together. Clear. So this is my Polymer 80. I had this flashlight here, the TLR9, or I think it's a TLR9. Yeah, TLR9 Streamlight. I had that flashlight on that pistol with that compensator, and it looked like something that like RoboCop used. Like it was so sci-fi looking, it looked badass. But like I said, with the carbon buildup it had, it just ruined the flashlight. It ruined the gun, and I wouldn't recommend it. Because actually, like after 2 shots from this, if you have a flashlight on your pistol, you're not going to be able to use that flashlight. It covers the entire lens with carbon, and you're not going to be able to utilize the flashlight at all. So for safety and for like considerations like that, if you're using it for like a duty pistol or something, which you shouldn't be using compensators on a duty pistol to begin with, but like if you're a competition shooter, you might have a need for it just for like more stable shooting, I guess. Or like if you don't have like really good strong wrists, I guess. No offense, but if you have a certain need for the compensator, maybe, but don't think you're going to utilize your flashlight after shooting this, because you're not going to be able to see through the lens, or the light won't be bright enough to be effective, and you essentially just wasted all of those resources just for the sake of having a compensator that looks cool. That's where I'm sitting at it with it. I don't know if I'm overstating it or if I'm repeating myself, but yeah, that's kind of just to touch back on the previous videos I've made on my YouTube channel. and it just started coming up again in the comments. So I'm making this video now to kind of touch base on where things are at with that, so people are aware of, um, you know, what I think of this product and how it actually handles, I guess, or how it functions on certain frames, certain pistols, certain slides. But yeah, I also have a video of me shooting it at the range, so you'll see. I'll when I make this whole YouTube video, I'll edit the other video into it, so you'll see um, how it actually fires, and you'll see that fireball I was talking about. It makes a big bright flash, and what that is just all the unburnt carbon or unburnt gunpowder that just covers the entire area. Because then that fireball goes off, yeah, you're seeing a bigger flash, but that's because more of the powder is spread out, and it doesn't have a chance to burn off in the chamber before the bullet exits the bore or the muzzle. So
It's going.
so yeah, it's a gimmick, dude. I wouldn't go out and buy it. I'm gonna say that one more time. Don't go out and buy it. Get it on discount if you're going out for buying it, but like just make sure you're not paying more than $40 for it, because it's not worth the extra hassle. Because I'm telling you, I built a whole another pistol just for the sake of having this thing work, and it worked, but it wasn't worth the extra cost. But at least now I have a nice, like an actual quality pistol aside from my dagger or my polymer 80s that I've built. So yeah, I think we're gonna touch a little bit more on that later, or as long as like I have time, I'll make a video dedicated to my polymer 80s, but in the process of how I built them and made them function. But in regards to the SCT19 and the mass driver compensator from Strike Industries, there's a reason why this is back in the box and this is without a compensator on it. So there you go. For those of you guys wondering. Yeah, I'm going to stop that recording now.